Hey guys, what's up? It's Newcon here, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the Council of Elders kill on normal in the throne of the Thunderking. I'm going to start off by talking to you a little bit about the tactics and how everything works. So basically, first of all, you start off with four mobs, or four bosses rather. You start off with Frost King Malak, Katra Gym, Soul the Sandcrawler, and High Priestess Marley. And basically each of these four bosses, each of them have their own abilities, and each of them do like special things, but they all can be empowered by Garajal. And while being empowered by Garajal, each of the own bosses, they develop their own new abilities, or their current abilities will basically just become more powerful. To start off with, you will have your tanks pick up Frost King Malak and High Priestess Marley. You can also have your tanks stand near Soul the Sandcrawler, and that was the tactic that we used. We used our warrior tank to stand near Soul the Sandcrawler and to pick up Frost King Malak at the same time, so we can get some cleave damage on there, as at the moment this boss is overtuned, and you basically need a lot of DPS to be able to get this boss down. Okay, now let's get into some tactics basically. A couple of the abilities that bosses will actually develop is basically, well, this isn't an ability of the bosses, but it's part of the whole encounter. Basically, you want to base like your DPS, your main DPS will be wanting to DPS down this target, and this will be the target that's taken up by the Spirit of Garajal. Basically, the Spirit of Garajal, like he possesses one of the four bosses, and you'll basically have to fight down 25% of this boss's health. For them to break free, and after they've broken free they gain lingering presence, which basically gives them 10% extra damage, and it gives them 10% dark energy regeneration. And once the councillor reaches like 100 dark energy, then they'll basically begin to cast like dark power, and dark power inflicts 10,000 shadow damage to all players and increases damage by 10% with each cast. I am the off tank for my guild, and basically I ended up tanking High Priestess Marley for this fight, and also Frost King Malak. Basically, a couple of the abilities that you'll have to deal with are Frost King Malak's Frigid Assault. This basically just puts his melee attack damage to do 75,000 frost damage, and every time he does it, he applies one debuff, or sometimes it can be two debuffs rather, 2 stacks of this debuff. And once you get to 15 stacks, it actually puts a stun on you. And therefore obviously you're not able to do anything. So at this point, when you get to maybe 12 or 13 stacks, you'll have your other tank off you, and you guys will swap. And at this point you will want to swap to High Priestess Marley, and in this case her abilities will be basically Wrath of the Lower, which you just want to interrupt because it does a lot of damage. And also you'll have she'll spawn an ad which is called Blessed Lower Spirit. This Lower Spirit basically, once it moves towards, she casts it on like the target who has the lowest amount of health, and you'll want to basically, you can do everything. You can stun this mob, like you can slow it, you can do everything, snared, all that stuff. So basically what you want to do is, well, what I did in the video is I stunned. I had the 30-second Hammer of Justice, I think it's called Fist of Justice. I basically just used this to stun the mob. And now I'm going to be moving on to Soul the Sandcrawler. Basically, Soul the Sandcrawler has a couple of abilities. The first one will be Sandbolt. This ability hits all targets within 5 yards of the targeted location for about 150,000 damage. So obviously you're going to want to be interrupting this as much as you can. Have your melee rebuke, pummel, like all that sort of stuff. And another ability that he has is called Quicksand. Basically, he just summons random pools of them around the room, obviously under players. Each of these pools deals 125,000 damage to all players within 7 yards, and will cause them to become ensnared for like every second that you're stood in it. And once you reach 5 stacks, basically, you become entrapped and you can't move for 30 seconds, basically. Moving on to when Sol is actually possessed by Garajal, he develops this ability called Sandstorm. Sandstorm is an ability that deals an insane amount of damage. Basically, at this point, you're going to be wanting to pop like your your like raid walls, like your devotion auras, that sort of thing, like to reduce your damage. You want to be putting like healing tide, like all that sort of thing. It basically just deals damage to everyone for 8 seconds. It does a lot of damage, so you want to be careful of this. Also, what the tanks need to be careful of is living sand. The living sand will be dealing damage to, will be spawning adds from the pools of quicksand, and basically you're going to want to nuke these down as quickly as possible because they really do hit like trucks. They're able to really kill your healers very quickly if they aren't used. But what we did in our kill is we used a warlock's demon portals, and we basically just got our healers to go through each time so that the tanks could easily just pick up the adds, and I basically just popped a cooldown each time I had to pick up these adds just to make sure that I would survive through it. This kill is a little bit messy, to be honest, but it was our first kill. I think we'd had about, as I said, like 15 or 20 attempts in it, and this was the first time or second time we'd actually been trying this tactic, so it did get a bit messy, but at the end of the day, we pulled off the kill, and a lot of guilds haven't managed to do it because, like, as I said earlier, this boss already is really overtuned. Now moving on to the Katra Gym. Basically, he's sort of like a monk. He flies around doing like kicks and stuff. You'll see the puddles there, puddles of like shadowy. It sort of looks a little bit like the file in terms of the color. It's that sort of like black shadowy color. And basically, he rushes towards like a random person. He basically inflicts like 75,000 nature damage to all players in the line that he's just put down on the floor. And also, after he's done this charge, if he's possessed by Garajal, he basically becomes electrified and he stuns himself for 20 seconds. And all the damage, so this is one of the hardest bosses to get down, basically, because he reflects 50% of the damage that he actually takes, and he reflects it as nature damage, so it's obviously magical damage, so it's quite hard to mitigate. So yeah, guys, I think that's basically all I can explain about this boss. If you guys want to like comment and subscribe, and I'll try and answer any questions that I can for this boss. As I said, it is a really hard boss. It's overtuned at the moment, and like as we were doing it, we were just hearing about guilds that were basically doing 25-man, and basically just face rolling through the whole thing. I mean, we are in pretty decent gear. We do have like 502 sort of general item level, like everyone in the raid. So we should basically, I don't want to say we shouldn't be walking through it, but we shouldn't be. I don't think the boss for normal modes, I don't think this boss should have been as hard as it was for us to kill. Maybe, who knows, maybe we're getting the tactics wrong, but I still think that the boss is mega overtuned and undertuned for 25 mana. People are literally able just to walk through and completely ignore all the tactics. And yeah, so I'll basically just leave you guys with our vent for the rest of the kill, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you guys want to leave any comments or anything, and I'll try and help, and I'll try and answer them as I can. And I thought basically that I'd try and get a guide out because so little guilds have actually down this boss, and I thought maybe it'd be nice to get a guide out for the guilds that are like further behind in progress, and just see, so they can sort of see a kill video, because I couldn't find any kill videos, and nevertheless I couldn't find any guides either. So I thought that I would try and put out a guide for you guys. So cheers guys, Newcon out. Thunder.
Molly's done.
Nice.
Come on.
We'll play it.
Yeah.
That is how you fucking do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What does this motherfucker drop?
Oh, he drops a weapon.
Yeah,
woohoo! Look at that sword.
Shaman.
Ooh, tier. I'm gonna roll anyway.
I
got gold.
Oh, I got the fucking bad juju trinket.
I got loot. I got fortitude trinket. Lol.
Oh, for your racist.
Fortitude of the Zandalari. Woo! Oh, whoa. Nice sword.
We'll be ending it now, guys.